just this idea that moving to New Hampshire, and which is a very low tax state, and living debt free, and having a nice community of support, and living a much freer life. I think these are good ideas. It's not that like there's one answer, but there's thousands of answers to how you can improve the amount of freedom you have in life just by being conscious of it.
Right, and for those of you that have spent any time on this liberty.me site, you can find these various answers because there's so many different ideas on here. But
it'll keep you busy, that's for sure.
It definitely will. Another thing that's really great about it is it's almost refreshing when you spend. If you're a person that's engaged very heavily in social media in general, if you spend so much time or spend a lot of time on like Facebook and Twitter, and the conversations that you have in there, and they mentally exhaust you, and then you go to liberty.me, and it's just like, it's so refreshing, and you feel like, oh.
I know, that's what everybody says. Everybody says that they hadn't realized how much Facebook had become a kind of source of anxiety and tension in their lives until they got to liberty.me, and suddenly it's, it's relaxing, and
exactly.
if you're around friends, that's the good thing.
Yeah, it's just
and we have differences, and we have vigorous arguments and that sort of thing. There's nothing wrong with that, but it's always civil, and we always are sort of valuing each other and appreciating each other for what we're doing. And I think part of that comes from our business model. We really wanted people to be invested in the platform, which is why we charge $5 a month for subscriptions, just so that it's a very minimal charge, but the idea is that everybody should feel some sense of belonging and having some skin in the game.
It's just that I think also it's just that everybody that is going to invest any kind of time or money into becoming a member of this, they all have, at least to some extent, a common goal. So that's why I think that a lot of the conversations on there, especially the disagreements, are way more civil than those that you would have in any Facebook group or page or Twitter thread. It's just. But you're right. It's a lot more civil and in their disagreements.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And I believe in disagreements, and none of us entirely agree. It would be a boring world if we all entirely agreed. But you want to be able to engage with people in a way that you learn. Not just that you fight.
Right. And you, it's some people are just hard to work with by nature because they. We talked about how politics is less and less becoming the avenue to engage in topics of liberty, but there's a large group of people out there that see politics and feel that politics is almost like a religion. I mean, to them, it's very. Important for them to be engaged in that sort of thing, and they kind of treat it as a religion.
They really do. It becomes people become obsessed with politics, and we just got through the holiday season, so everybody knows this. We all spent time with our families, and there's nothing more annoying than having a nice Thanksgiving or Christmas dinner or something, and then one or two people at the table start mimicking Fox News commentators. You just kind of it ruins the whole scene,
Speaking of religion, there's another organization that you have worked with in the past, and I don't know if you still work with them or not, but I'm referring to the Acton Institute.
Yeah, I'm going there next week to deliver a big lecture.
Oh, okay. So tell me about that organization and how you got involved with them and what you're.
Well, I was there very much at the founding. I'm trying to think, what year was this? This might have been 1988, 89, something like that.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, and the idea was that people who are religious are an important but overlooked sort of a segment of opinion, a market segment for the ideas of liberty. So many libertarians are secularly oriented. I think that's for a number of reasons, but most Americans are deeply religious for one reason or another, at least are informed. Their lives are informed by some religious tradition. So the purpose of the Acton Institute was to create a venue by which these two areas of life, religious concern and also human liberty, with particular focus on economics, could come together and sort of a dialogue, and in a way that would more thoroughly connect with people's lives. And also, for many people, they stop going to church because they getting tired of being hectored from the pulpit, by sort of leftist, socialistic thought. And so part of the mission of the Acton Institute was to actually educate the clerical class in economic subjects too. So, and I think they've been remarkably successful. And I enjoy working with them because it's an area that I've done a lot of research and writing in. And so I teach at the Acton University every year, and I've worked closely with the founder of the Acton Institute, Robert Spreaker, for a very long time.
I think a lot of problems, the only word I can think of that comes to me with libertarians and religion is that a lot of the, I won't say all, but a lot of the religious groups kind of turn them off. Especially here in Oklahoma, there is a very large social conservative movement of people that spread this word liberty around.
I totally agree. I mean, so many of the social conservatives are actually an active threat to liberty, even veering towards fascism and nationalism, and it's very scary. And just like an intolerant sort of way, and it gives a bad impression of religion to anybody who cares about their freedom. You begin to think of religious people as a threat.
Right, and that's the problem we have down here in Oklahoma. Is so the people that are vocally religious, for lack of a better way to put it, are the people who say liberty this and liberty this, but they have these very vicious attitudes toward people that are not like them.
That's exactly right.
And we're actually going to talk a little bit more about that concept later on in the show in regards to something you wrote a while back, but we'll get into that later. But the interesting thing, discussing the Acton Institute and this idea of merging liberty and religion, next week we're actually doing our show on I'm going to be doing a forum. There's going to be about 3 or 4 people on the show, and we're going to be talking about the compatibility of organized religion and liberty, and it should be an interesting show. But that's
I think they are compatible. By the way, I think that liberty is compatible with any of those, any kind of worldview you happen to have. I mean, I would say if you've got a socialistic ethos, an environmentalist perspective, if you're a witch, if you're practicing Islam, or I mean, it just doesn't matter. Human liberty is actually better for you than any kind of state control. So.
Right.
I mean, it's, to me, liberty. I don't like to think of libertarianism as being something like a small sector of political opinion. It seems to me it's the one perspective that's truly universal and good for everyone.
Right.
That was Mises' view in any case.
Yes. So you, next thing I wanted to talk about, you just released a new book. Bit by Bit, I guess this is kind of a way to document this kind of revolution, so to speak, in peer-to-peer technology. You want to talk about that book a little bit?
Yeah, it really does address what I think is really a fantastic sort of development we've seen over the last 18 to 24 months. It's a maturing of the digital age where we're starting to see the communication technology become so sophisticated that we can actually commodify and bundle and transfer information bits in a way that actually disintermediate the world, by which I mean we can bypass third-party providers and that sort of thing and engage with each other peer-to-peer. Without regard to political jurisdiction or geography. And this has been highly significant for our lives in many ways. And we're seeing all this sort of emergence of new technologies that are really just kind of like shredding through traditional ways that the state has tried to use to control society, from zoning laws to occupational licensing to municipal taxi services and even monetary monopolies. All these things are facing fundamental challenges from technology. So the purpose of the book is to document this and also defend this trend as being not just some random imposition of new technologies that we don't understand, but rather a kind of fulfillment of a human aspiration towards self-determination.
And the interesting thing is, in a lot of ways, technology more and more has gotten to the point where it's almost made government, that is the state, obsolete.
Yeah, and that's really the theme of the book, because for a very long time we couldn't really imagine how you could have a world of just individuals engaging, forming their own, or customizing their own worlds, putting together their own customized political systems or legal systems or trading without depending on very, very large governments or corporations or these kinds of things. We just didn't really have the technology. I think that a world without the state has always been possible, but it's never been more viable than it is.
Yeah, and all because of technology.
Yeah. I mean, so much of our lives now, I mean, like, if you think about it, like, every time you're looking down at your smartphone, you really are looking at a portal to a kind of a global anarchist vision. You're dealing peer-to-peer with people in the communications world that nobody gave approval for. The state never caused the smartphone to come into existence. The app economy is something that emerged completely out of the spontaneous actions of market participants and entrepreneurs. And it's been glorious. It's changed our lives, and so much of our lives are being sucked into this world. And I think this is for a reason. It's just a better world than the world the state made for us.
Right, definitely. So the blue book is called Bit by Bit, and the subtitle of it.
Yeah, it's Bit by Bit: How P2P is Freeing the World.
Right. And it's available on Amazon.
And it's the number one seller under the category of political freedom right now. So I'm very pleased. It was just released, I guess, 2 days ago, but it's doing very, very well, actually.
And if you are a member... Microphone fell. If you are a member of Liberty.me, you can actually download it for free.
That's right.
So another perk of being a member of Liberty.me. It's definitely something you should look into. Well, Jeff, we're going to go to a quick break.
Okay.
And when we get back, we'll talk about some other stuff, okay?
Sounds good.
Great. Well, you've been listening to Liberty Unfiltered with your host, me, Steve Long, and we're here with Jeffrey Tucker. And we'll be back in just a few moments.
Hi, I'm Dustin Hoyt with America Our Way, and you can hear me right here on Vigilant Liberty Radio at 10/9 Central on Thursday nights. We bring you the best in political commentary from the right-wing, conservative, libertarian perspectives coming together and bringing the best content on the internet. Be sure to tune in every week for your favorite shows. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter.
Here's just a sample of what you can expect when you listen to Amanda and the Edge of Anarchy Monday nights on Vigilant Liberty Radio.
So freedom and liberty can actually help the state. Take marijuana, for example. If we legalize it, we should force Congress to smoke it. I mean, can you imagine the outcome of that? Hey, Senator Reid, I got a great idea.